In 1932, my brother Peter was born. He was the middle brother of my parents, Ethel and Jack Hausman. At that time, no one knew what cerebral palsy was. Children with afflictions like that were considered unfortunate and hidden from the public.
There were no services that they could access for him. They did not know what to call the clinical manifestations of his problems. And so they set upon what I know to be was a worldwide search for answers.
Through an ad in the newspaper, they started an organization of parents with people who had afflictions. And it's through that very kernel of a beginning that United Cerebral Palsy started.
When I think about the story of how the agency was started, I think about love starting a journey that has grown into what the agency is today.
They started with the Stanley Land Clinic in Long Island College Hospital just to get doctors to see kids with cerebral palsy because nobody would. And so they really had an impact first in just prolonging the life of children and getting medical professionals to see kids. Jack was the conservative one, and there wasn't a risk that Leo Hausman didn't like to take. They left an impact in business, they left an impact in healthcare, and they created a system across the country of services for people with disabilities that would have been years in the making had they not done that.
We all went to the telethons and helped, and we answered telephones and got people inspired and got the spirit going.
It's just a lot of fun. It raised money all over the country, gave the cause national exposure. So we went from a small little $2.5 million agency to a $30 million service organization practically overnight.
Jack would always have checks in his breast pocket because he was always soliciting money for UCP. And so he would want to show you what somebody else did as a proxy to stimulate you.
My father and mother had a great gift of how to get people involved. You could not have lunch with my father at the 21 Club unless you came with your checkbook. And you didn't leave lunch without writing a check to UCP. The idea of hooking up with Leonard Goldenson, who was the head of ABC, they were a great combination. My dad was a great fundraiser, and Leonard had great access to getting the organization to be known. So they were great partners and great friends up until the day they passed away.
Almost anyone that would be asked would show up as a part of Jack and Leonard saying, "Will you do this for UCP?" And it was a marvelous effort that ended up raising many, many, many hundreds of millions of dollars over a period of years.
Our fathers, all three men in our family preached nightly of helping people.
What I want my children to know about people with disabilities is I want them to be aware that family touched by developmental disabilities is something that changes life from the moment it happens. Every decision is different for the parents' lives and the child's lives, and I want my children to be aware of it and sensitive to it and willing and wanting to help any way they can.
My experience was with the Samuel Hausman Activities Resource Education Center, which is named for my grandfather. And the idea was to have a place where people could come, see the latest in technology, possibly even try it out, get more information about it, make decisions for themselves, and then invest in the technology.
My mom and dad would be happy to see all the work that's been done by people after they founded an organization for cerebral palsy because of my brother Peter, who I was very fond of.
This entire effort was really a family effort for the Hausmans. It was not just Jack and Ethel. Their sons were engaged, their grandchildren were engaged ultimately, and the cause is very worthy. And the people who were advancing the cause, the whole family, the whole Hausman family were fantastic people and are fantastic people.
Our presence will only continue to grow. We're honored that there is a Hausman Humanitarian Award being given out, and that will always keep us intimately involved in the future.
So things have evolved over the course of time.
And we've adapted.
And we've adapted, that's the name, that's correct. We've adapted.